Within my community as a resident healthcare professional to be, whatever you want to classify me, forever student, I'm encountering there a ton of endurance athletes, be it, ultra runners, marathoners, half marathoners, triathletes. And it just goes to show that, it's such an interconnected community, and you have these people who are, kick ass out there on the road or on the bike or in the pool or wherever, but they're also kick ass in their respective fields. So in the lab, in the OR, doing whatever. And it's, it just makes you take a step back and be like, you can balance the two.
This episode of the Smart Athlete Podcast is brought to you by Solpre, skincare for athletes. Whether you're in the gym, on the mats, on the road, or in the pool, we protect your skin so you're more comfortable in your own body. To learn more, go to solpre.com. Today on the Smart Athlete Podcast, my guest is a Renaissance woman after my own heart. She was a competitive equestrian on the national circuit for over 10 years. She is I'll say, talented artist in some sense, loves to draw and paint. She's currently a competitive triathlete and a resident in pediatric dentistry. And I'm hoping maybe I can get some mail order, but she tells me she also cooks really well. Welcome to the show, Ashley Anderson.
Sounds good.
So what are you cooking tonight? Can you like FedEx me like 1 hour, or maybe it's like Amazon Prime now. Can you just like get a drone to send me something?
I'll see what I can do in my spare time that I don't have. So tonight, actually, my boyfriend Ben is in town. He lives in the Myrtle Beach area and is one of the track and field coaches at Coastal Carolina. So he is charged with making dinner tonight. So
okay.
If you hear pots and pans clanging in the background, he can cook really, really well. So I think breakfast for dinner, I know that sounds like a cop-out, but like legitimate brunch breakfast for dinner, I think on the menu.
Yeah, and I know there are some people that are gaga about Brinner, as I know it. I've never really been huge into breakfast for dinner, and I love breakfast, but it's something. It came up in college all the time, and sometimes the cafeteria would have breakfast for dinner, and everybody would be super excited, and I'd be like, no. It was like the bane of my existence. I was like, I'm gonna have a terrible. Just for some reason, I would have like a terrible workout the next day, hands down. Like every single time I had breakfast for dinner, so I think that's why I avoided it.
As a resident, I will confess that sometimes breakfast for dinner entails a bowl of cereal over top of notes and other things that you're working on. So yes, breakfast for dinner is a friend of mine.
Well, that's fair because that's easy to make.
Yeah.
Before we got going, you were telling me that tomorrow you're actually finishing up your residency.
Yes. Bless up.
It's time to celebrate. So does that mean, more actual dinners now, less cereal?
It means I get to be human again. So I have been in school for a total of 10 years after high school. So 4 years of undergrad at Wake Forest, go Deeks, and that's where I met Greg, that you had on the show last week.
Yeah.
And then 4 years of dental school. Contrary to most people's belief, dental school is in fact 4 years, and that was at VCU in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
And then I matched to the program here in Charleston at MUSC, and that's a 2-year song and dance. So it's been an academic marathon. It's interesting. I get on Facebook or Instagram, and I see, oh, so-and-so I went to high school with is married. Oh, that's great. I'm still in school. Oh, they had a kid. Oh, that's great. I'm still in school. But, to finally, it's really surreal to realize that I'm done. You're always learning. There's always continuing education. There's always something to take away from each clinic day. But the fact that the bulk of the academics is over as of tomorrow, I have one more OR day, so I'm going out, with a bang. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really humbling. Um, I'm a very warm, fuzzy, tender-hearted, extra person, and it's you think about all the moments, kind of like in training, all the moments where you're like, this sucks, or can I get through this part, or oh, one more test to study for, or this is a really tough workout, whatever. That mental toughness
Mm-hmm.
that comes into play in sport has definitely found its way into my academic uh, endurance events over the last 10 years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool to realize I'm done tomorrow.
So is it like I know from my few friends that are finishing medical school here recently that I mean the job market for doctors is pretty much almost wherever they want to go. Is it similar for you? Like,
Yeah, it's there's areas that are more saturated than others. There are areas where the need is greater, more so than others.
mhm,
For me, I wanted to balance, where I wanted to live with where I could serve the community. And I know
mhm,
that sounds cheesy, but I want to go to a place where there are patients that need care, and populations that need care.
mhm,
So in pediatric dentistry, I think what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, you see little kids, but you also see medically compromised kids, special needs, children, adolescents, and adults. And that last patient population is very much underserved. And
mhm,
that's one of the main reasons why I went into pediatric dentistry, was to be able to serve that population. So, that's something that when I interviewed for different jobs in different areas, was one of my main questions is, how many of those types of patients do you see? Do you go out into the community, and go to schools and do outreach and stuff like that? I was very involved in dental school with what's called Mission of Mercy projects,
mhm,
which essentially we go out into, this was in Virginia, so underserved areas of Virginia, and provide free dental care, like intense outdoors for multiple days over a course of a weekend
mhm.
to people who really need it and can't afford it. Um, and so going out and going into the community and not just serving, the day-to-day patient population is really important to me. So that kind of factored into my decision as to where to hunt for jobs.
Mhm.
But yeah, essentially you can pick up what you do and take it anywhere, which I think is really cool about medicine and really cool about dentistry, is that you can go serve a population wherever. You may be super busy, or you may be not so busy. You may
Mhm.
be the only man in town and have to wear multiple hats with what services you provide, or maybe not. So that variety is really, something that I think is really empowering about healthcare, be
Mhm.
it dentistry or medicine, and also really intimidating. As a new practitioner coming out, sometimes parents will look at me and be like, "You're how old? And you're sedating my child right
Like, I'm
now?"
sorry, you're 15, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like to joke sometimes, and some people I have to choose who I crack this on, but in dental school, patients would look at you and say, "Okay, well, how many times have you done this procedure?" And I'd look at them and say, "Oh, I YouTubed it like 5 minutes before you walked through the door." And some people like actually think that's funny. Sometimes it's actually true. Um, and then other times you realize like you can't joke around with patients like that.
Yeah, anxiety level's a little bit high.
Yeah. So no, I'm going back home to
Mhm.
Virginia to
Okay.
practice. There is an office back in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area
Mhm.
that I have landed at, and I'm really excited about that. I'll be close to my family, so I'm the youngest of three.
Mhm.
I'm the only one not married with children. My mom reminds me of that. Um,
We all take different paths.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to be able to go back home and serve my hometown essentially.
So did you like growing up, did you do mission work or outreach or volunteer, or was that you know, in school, was that your first kind of opportunity to do that kind of work?
I did a lot of volunteering in high school, middle school, mainly high school with like our local hospital,
Hmm.
and actually worked in the cardiac department as a volunteer and debated for a while, did I want to do that or did I want to go into dentistry? Um, and then ultimately decided on dentistry just for different reasons. It has an artistic component, which, like we talked about, is a big part of my life.
Hmm.
It allows me to have more one-on-one, I think, more consistent relationships with my patients.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I volunteered at the hospital back home for a number of years. Did a lot with the Mission to Mercy projects as a high schooler prior to going to dental school. I continued that in college. Did a lot of, random outreach things,
Hmm.
medical stuff, and non-medical things too. So no, volunteering and like just being out in the public has been a big part of my life for a long time.
Okay, it's like just to me it doesn't sound like you're like, oh, I'm gonna be in dentistry and just make a lot of money and that's all I'm interested in, and then you got that sidetracked. It kind of seems like that's been a little bit of the fabric of who you are for a
Yes,
while. Yeah,
for sure.
just volunteering. Um, where did I get? So I have to write my notes down.
Oh, it's all good. If I don't write it down, I don't remember it.
Well, it's like we get going, and then I'm like, wait, what? I don't know. Um, so you got your job. So are you taking your boyfriend with you? What you gonna
That's a loaded
import him back
question.
home? That's my
um,
job. That's what I'm supposed to do. Ask a lot of questions.
so we already do long distance. So he's 2 hours away from me right now,
Hmm.
and so I have to brag for a little bit. He has been fantastic about making the trip to come see me. As you can imagine, in residency, getting away is difficult.
Yeah.
Patient
Yeah.
care comes first. Studies come first. So oftentimes it's difficult to pop up and down the road, when you're obviously when you're on call, but, when you're in the OR till late, Friday or have stuff to do. So he's been very good about coming down to see me. And we make the most of his visits in that, he'll come and stay a couple of days or, I've gone up to see him a few times, but anyway, thank God for FaceTime, Marco Polo,
Hmm.
Instagram, Facebook, whatever, texting. We make long distance work.
Hmm.
And I think it takes a special set of humans to be able to do that.
I would agree.
He is also a triathlete, and that's how we met.
Hmm.
So, fun side note story. I was in a self induced bad bike accident almost a year ago.
Hmm.
I was racing my second little local sprint race, and I took a corner too sharply, and my bike went one way and my body went another way. Lots of rehab, both my own personal self and then my bike also didn't handle the damage too well. So,
Hmm.
long story short, Ben was the mechanic at the tri shop where I went for the majority of my triathlonism needs.
Hmm.
And he fixed my bike after the accident and wrote his phone number on the receipt for the repairs.
Smooth.
Then became a good friend prior to, us actually going on a date.
Hmm.
And we've been together almost a year. But that's how we met.